Right now I'm cutting the pieces that form the star. Some of the cutting will be at fast speed in order to keep the video from being too long. Right now I am checking the fit of these star pieces. So I have two sets of these diamond shapes cut out, which will end up making a star. I want to spread them in cut strips about 3/8 thick. They will meet at this hexagon in the middle. So I'm going to slide these out of the way and I'm going to cut this piece to width, and then I will rip the strips and make sure that they fit this flat. Here I'm cutting those spacers to length and squaring them up at the same time. Here the saw blade is tilted at 30 degrees. The piece is cut, then flipped, which gives it a 60-degree angle. 6 of those pieces will form a full circle. So I'm going to try not to get too far ahead of myself here and try to explain what I'm doing, but each one of these angles are cut at 60 degrees. So is this. This is cut at 60 degrees. When I put this in here like that, they all match up. Those are going to be glue joints. There will be another piece that fits over here. So what I want to do next is straight across there, I want to cut that off. And that will end up being, if you can see that, but that'll be a 60-degree cut. So that is the next thing I plan on doing. Once I get that cut, I'll show you how the last piece fits in here. Well, here's a dry fit of the pieces. Now I'm going to make pieces that create the outside of the bowl. And when I get those made, I'll be able to put a band strap around here and pull everything together. I'm getting excited about putting this together, but I do not want to get in a hurry. These are the pieces that form the actual bowl shape. So this is kind of a primary double checking. Each piece that I cut, I like to put it in there and see where I'm at. And by holding this and pushing on there, all these joints are tightening up. They look pretty good, especially right here. Okay, I have one more angle to cut on these pieces. And there's a pencil line just showing you that corner gets cut off. Okay, I've got the joints fitting on the star pieces. I have a gap in here purposely so I can use those as clamping blocks up against these pieces. So I tighten the band clamp, it will push everything together. This little center piece is being held by the pressure. I'm going to mark everything, take it apart, and I will be gluing everything from the star inwards. After that's dry, then I'll fit these so the joints close up, and then we'll glue that. Now I need to get glue on all the joints and hope that it all goes back together the way I had it. I put duct tape around the outside pieces to keep from getting glue on them. Then I put the band clamp on it, tightened them up, hammered the pieces down flat. I used clamps for additional pressure. I let that star piece sit all night, cleaned it up, and then I fit the perimeter pieces and then glued them in place. I then let everything sit all night. I then bandsawed it to a round shape. Alright, I'm ready to get this in the lathe. This is going to be the top. I want to get it as centered as I can on this hex. That'll make the star centered. And what I've done is I found the exact center, and I've used dividers to verify that. I turned a little tenon out of a piece of oak. While it was in the lathe, I drilled a hole right through the center. So I have this little brad that goes in here. I put a little punch mark there, put a circle on here to know where the glue goes. So this will line it up here. I'm going to go ahead and line this up, and I'm going to glue it down. My steps now is to turn this diameter around. I glued another block on this side, which is actually going to be the bottom. I'm going to cut a tenon on that. I want to be able to flip it around, face the top off, so I can glue a row of segments on the top of this. That way I can get a little taller turning out of it. So let's go ahead and get this round and get a tenon on there, and we'll get it flipped and flatten that top off. 1200 RPMs. Okay, I flipped it around. Just going to flatten it out. I'll glue a row of segments on. Runs good at 1200. "18 walnut segments, first dry fit, then glued together." These segments were cut on my wedgie sled and had perfect joints with no fitting needed. I have the segmented ring glued on the top, made out of 18 walnut segments. I put a line on here. This is approximately where I'll be turning this direction to blend into the inside of the bowl. This is pretty close to the outside. I put it this way so I could mark it. I do have a tenon on both sides. I'm going to leave that. I can go back and forth. As soon as I start creating my wall and I'm happy with it, I'll get the outside finished and we'll finish the inside. I'm going to turn it back around now and start turning on the outside. Okay. All that time gluing up, and now I finally get to do some turning. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to use the 5/8 bowl gouge now. I got to finish right here, get that glue joint smoothed out. Alright, I'm going to tweak the size of the base a little bit, and it's mostly just I want it to stop at a certain point in here. I think it'll look better if I'm to the inside of this and that these lines are full. I decided to reduce it to there. It won't look broken up. This to me makes it look broken up. Let's get a pencil line on there and I won't have to guess at it. Okay, somewhere in there. Alright, I like that. So, I think I'll just take my negative brick scraper and just kind of blend this up, and it's time to sand it. Okay, I'm running at about 274 RPMs. I'm going to turn the dust collector on. It's going to be noisy. I'm going to sand with a 2-inch pads up to 400, and I'll just show you a little bit of it. It's pretty boring. I'm going to go ahead and put some sanding sealer on it, but I will be sanding it again. Sanding sealer will help raise the grain and make it sand even smoother, and it'll help me find any little areas that might need touching up. I have a lot of joints here. I flipped it around in the jaws. I have the bottom of this bowl is sanded, one coat of sanding sealer on it. I'm going to work on this for a little while. I'm going to leave these tenons on here, and I can flip back and forth. Once I start putting a finish on this, it'll dry fairly fast, but I don't want to work on it for a few hours, so I'll be able to flip it, work on this side. Eventually I'll have to take the tenon off, but meanwhile I'm going to do that for a while. 1400 RPMs. Okay, that's right where I want it, right there. Down to this point, right there, and here to here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my negative brake scraper, I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to get all of this sanded before I remove this section. Okay, let's cut this away. About 1,000 RPMs there. I started removing this section using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge, and then I switched to my 5/8 bowl gouge, and then I end up using my hollowing tool to remove the rest of that nub. Right here you see it's getting very close, cutting it away right now, and just about right now, there it goes. Now to remove that small little piece sticking up, stubborn little end grain. I blend it all together using my negative rake scraper, and then I do the sanding all the way up to 400 to get ready for some finish. This is not my mixed up sanding sealer, it's the Zinsser sanding sealer. I'm going to try this. So that's what it looks like. I'll let this dry really good and sand it up, and probably won't be back until this is all sprayed, because I will be putting lacquer on this side. I now have it in essentially a jam chuck. It's reversed. I put these little blocks of wood on here and I turned it so that it would fit inside with some padding. Now I have these blocks holding it down, but I'm going to leave the tailstock up there until I get almost all of it turned off, and then it can gently be turned off the rest of the way without the tailstock. So I've got a 5/8 bowl gouge. There it is, the finished star bowl. It's made out of ash and walnut. There are two different types of walnut in there. Those are pieces of wood that I've had around for a long time, so I really can't identify what type of walnut it is. It's 13.5 inches in diameter and it's 3 inches tall. And here's the bottom. They both have a slightly different look than the other. There's 49 pieces here that make this bowl up. In the top ring itself, made out of segments, there's 18 pieces in there, and you should be able to see the joints there. I finished it with lacquer, first with sanding sealer, and then I think I sprayed it maybe 6 times. Wet and dry sandpaper, and I used my abrasive paste and polish on it. Pretty happy with the finish on here. So I saw a picture of one of these one time and stuck in the back of my head that I wanted to build one, and I just finally decided, well, I'll just go ahead and do it. I sketched it up and figured out how big I wanted it. But once I finished it, I think I made it bigger than I really wanted it. I don't know where I'm going to put it. So how long did I take to make this, you're wondering, right? I don't know. I know I started it more than a month and a half ago, and I know I probably turned 6 other things in between doing it, but I didn't work on it every day. And when I did work on it, I would let the glue sit. Maybe a day, maybe 2 days. And I just never get in a big hurry to make something like this. If you want it to come out the way you see it in your head, you've got to take time and make sure everything fits good. I tried to show everything in the process of building this. Some of the things I found that I had to speed them up because it would have been a very lengthy video. It wouldn't be a month and a half, but it would still be pretty long. Anyways, I sure hope you enjoyed the process of how I put this together. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And a special thanks to all my subscribers. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel and you feel so inclined, please consider subscribing. Thanks again, and until the next time, I'll see you later.